Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines. Enforcement actions are coming, says the CFTC. We'll get into it. Remember Ripple joined them? Well, you're going to like what Hester has to say today about T+1 settlement time. The SEC claims Ripple requests to conceal financial sales and information. We'll get into it. Half the world's population in digital money. This is going to blow your mind. 10 Asian countries you need to know about. Gold standard, is it coming back? David Schwartz's dream scenario won't go away. In fact, it looks like it's coming true. We got Ripple filing a trademark for their new stablecoin and an XRP chart that will knock you out. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and digperspectives.com at the top of the screen. Right now, $2.7 trillion market cap for cryptocurrency. The market's off by 2.4%. 69,400 plus for Bitcoin. 3,600 plus for Ethereum. $110 billion plus market cap for Tether. XRP at the number 8 spot here is 52 cents. We're off by 3.5 in the 24, up by 4.5 on the 7-day. The range of prices between 53 and 55 cents. We will keep you up to date as it moves. All right, let's get into this. I want to highlight, and I touched it in the first video, but this is worth talking about. Crypto is front and center on Capitol Hill, and it's front and center in the presidential campaigns. As Donald Trump says, he will accept crypto for campaign donations, ladies and gentlemen. I love that, and I've said it before. I would love to see a split ticket this year, and I would love to see Robert F. Kennedy Jr. be the vice president on Donald Trump's ticket. This way we can ensure that we have enough votes from both sides to get this done, and the one voter issue that I happen to be standing for, which is crypto, will be addressed. That's how I see that. Let's stack the deck and get it done. Right here, Tether prints $1 billion worth of USDT, and this was just 35 seconds ago yesterday morning, midday. We're going up, he says. Shout out to Marty Party. This is what usually happens. We see Tether printed, and then the market usually a short time later starts going up. We'll see what's going to happen here. Head on a swivel. Meanwhile, the CFTC, which you don't hear from much when it comes to the regulation by enforcement, well, trust me, they're carrying a hammer, and it's just as big and heavy as the one at the SEC. Rostin Benham says now you could see enforcement actions coming from the SEC and towards crypto as early as 6 months. He goes on to say that from his standpoint as a regulator, we're going to probably see in the next 6 to 18 or 6 to 24 months another cycle of enforcement actions because of this cycle of this asset appreciation and interest by retail investors. And without a regulatory framework, without that transparency, without those tools that we typically use as regulators, you're going to continue to see this fraud and manipulation in the crypto sector, he said. Now, he went on to note that regarding the possible effects of digital assets on the greater financial markets, regulators need to view their emerging products from a regulatory consumer protection standpoint, as he believes such an approach is the guiding light in terms of driving this conversation. Think of that. He's saying literally as a regulator here, you need to look at the products which can actually affect the markets, the financial markets, the emerging products that can affect the emerging markets, or emerging products that can affect the financial market, as he believes that such an approach is the guiding light. Well, that is boding well for XRP because it absolutely has use case that can be used and affect the financial markets as an emerging product. Come on in. Then there's this, speaking of affecting financial markets, ISDA, International Swaps Derivatives Association, guidance on T+1 settlement changes that will affect the DTCC settlement end-of-day times. Brace for impact. The Essential Guide unveils a seismic shift to T+1 settlement cycles hitting North America on May 27th and 28th, just 5 days from now. A game changer that could shake up securities and OTC derivatives markets. And going back to what Rostin Benham just said, the guiding light to this new emerging products and asset class will be those assets that have effects of their digital assets on the greater financial markets. Loving this for us, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, because Ripple did join ISDA, and it was to help the DTCC settle more than $2 quadrillion worth of derivatives. Now, what that looks like in transfer and price, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't expect price to move because price hasn't moved in so long. Why would I expect it to move when this happens on the 27th, 28th? What I do know is that implementation is taking place. Integration of using this technology is taking place. When we covered multiple times, Gary Gensler and all the other chairpersons on the SEC chair committee that voted unanimously to incorporate distributed ledger technology in T+1, T+0 settlement times. This gets very interesting as we move forward. I'm glad we're here for it. This is Hester Peirce talking in Bretton Woods committee discussing exactly this.
To enter a pretty big, not linear change, but an exponential change in our T+2 to T+1 event that's going to be taking place over this weekend.
So not a linear change, but exponential change. He's telling you there's a big change coming.
I'm wondering, how do you at the SEC, how are you monitoring, how are you preparing about the downstream second order, third order implications of this, kind of move towards atomic settlement, if that even is such a thing. But I'll leave it at that, and maybe you can comment a little bit on T+1 for a moment.
Yeah, so Greg, you're right. We're moving from a settlement cycle that is at T+2 days now, and we're moving to T+1. We do have the experience of having recently moved from T+3 to T+2, but T+1 is shorter, and goes without saying, and that means that we're taking time out of the settlement process, the time between when you buy your securities and when the cash and securities change hands. Taking the time out of that means that if there's less time to get it right. And so that will be challenging. I think so far what I'm hearing is that firms have really been working very hard to get ready for this. And so I'm happy about that, but you always worry the transition weekend, and then the weeks that follow it, we'll see whether there are problems and where they are. And it's certainly something that we at the SEC are watching very closely. And we're doing this not only in the US, but we're doing it in conjunction with some of our neighbors. And so it's not only a US thing. And there will be certain challenges that arise from the fact that Europe is not, and the UK are not marching alongside us in doing this now. So there are going to be some issues that could arise there, and some adjustments that people have to make. And so I had hoped that we could allow a little more time, but I'm hopeful that I know people have been working very hard to get ready for this. So we'll see what happens. We're not quite at atomic settlement yet. That would be
we're not.
But presumably you're in favor of this because it does reduce settlement risk by cutting the time in half.
So I like to reduce settlement risk. I think having those open transactions is a risk that if we can get rid of it, it's a good thing. So yeah, I am in favor of the transition.
And there you have it. It's coming. Look, just as we've known, things will run simultaneous and parallel to the traditional payment rails in case something goes wrong. This is what Victoria Cleland told us back in 2019. This is happening in 7 days. Now, what it will look like in adoption, and will it be 5% of the payment rails that are using to settle, or will it be 2% or 1% or no percent or 100%? I don't know the answer to that, but that's the beauty of being in this space and being here early enough to know to watch. It's so exciting. Then there's this. The SEC claims that Ripple's request to conceal financial security sales information from the public is unjustified, and that the financial figures or specific terms used to justify remedy requests should be public. And this is the SEC really poking on Ripple right now, knowing that they need to keep their business strategies secret. Listen, there's 1,700 contracts for a reason. Listen, this is what we know, okay? R3 had an option contract for 5 billion XRP. Yes, that happened. That is a pre-allocated option contract that I have been told for years that I am a conspiracy theorist and I'm spreading misinformation and the rest of it. Well, guess what? That's what R3 had, a pre-allocated option contract. So like it or not, that's a thing. Now, whether the other 1,700 contracts mentioned in this case happen to be a part of that same style of option contract, I can't speak to it. But I can speak to the fact that Ripple doesn't want to reveal what they're about, because they don't. And I don't blame them, because they're running a business. And I have said it for a long time, since before I was a YouTuber. It ain't money unless the world agrees that it's money. And the best way to get the world to agree that it's money is to give the world some of it. May 2024, confidential institutional presentation. CBDC's now coming fast. Look at this. Brazil, Nigeria, Pakistan, India, Mexico, Russia, China. 2024 will see more CBDCs in pilot 25 plus and rollout phases 15 plus. Almost half of the world's population will experience the benefits of digital money this year. Shout out to Smoke Dog for that one. And speaking of the world, half the world experiencing digital money, now 10 Asian countries to ditch the US dollar. We're no longer talking about BRICS, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, no, no, no. We're talking about the Asian region. That's right. Asia, Southeast Asia, North Africa region. That's what we're talking about here. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations right here. That's what you're talking about. Take a look here. You go into this, they're talking about these countries: Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam. Now, we all know that we've got deep relationships inside the Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand. We know we got deep relationships there. According to the latest figures, the International Monetary Fund, commonly called the World Bank, the combined GDP of the Asian nations currently stands at around $4 trillion. The move will strengthen their native currencies, giving local currencies a boost in the global foreign exchange markets. Several developing countries fear the rising U.S. debt of $34.4 trillion can affect their native economies and businesses. Therefore, the only solution to American debt is to make the Asian countries use local currencies and sideline the U.S. dollar. I see, when I see this and understand that BRICS has 40 countries that want to join their bloc, 10 Asian countries that want to continue to de-dollarize along with the BRICS coalition and 40 other countries there. There's a Project Sandman with over 130 nations that want to de-dollarize as well. When I start seeing things like T+1 settlement time and ISDA and Ripple and DTCC and Ripple helping to settle it, you know, when I see those things, I see them setting up the ability to tap in to this new liquidity of settlement and this new asset to help with that, to drive utility and liquidity onto its network. And maybe, just maybe, that's because we're seeing a de-dollarization around the world, so something must be done.
This movement is real. It's growing. And I keep saying to people, you have to understand, these countries are coming together because they want to discard the United States, not even compete with it. They just want nothing to do with it. They want, in a sense, be able to operate and live off of everything that they can trade among themselves. And the growth of that is going to eventually need some sort of exchange outside of the dollar or even their own currencies.
And that's where you factor in XRP, brought in as a bridge asset. So it's not just a dollar, because it's clear as day that there are tons of countries around the world that don't want to hold the dollar, because it's like playing a game of musical chairs, because the debt is $34.4 trillion and growing rapidly. It all brings me to this David Schwartz dream scenario. It's a lot like my own. Then there was this. A recent clip of David Schwartz And this has always been the reason why I'm here. I know the world and the United States need a solution to the current monetary crisis. Take a listen.
One of the crazy success outcomes that I could see is, like, I could see a place where the United States says, look, the dollar is not going to be able to hold on to its position of dominance, but we'd rather whatever becomes the sort of next dominant settlement unit not be something controlled by Russia or China or a geopolitical rival. You could almost see them deciding that a cryptocurrency was a less bad outcome for them. And it may be that there's no geopolitical entity that's strong enough to take over the role that the United States had. And so maybe they decide on some neutral asset. I don't know. You can dream, right?
You damn right you can dream, David Schwartz. You damn right you can. Now, let me just bring you up to here real quick, because I think this is really the next part of it that I want you to hear here. It's not the only time David's talked about it. Because, listen, there's the bottom up and the top down. And as I have said multiple times, neither one is the golden strategy. Both are necessary. And what is required to make either strategy, bottom up, top down, successful is legislative clarity. Period. Full stop. Give us that. And then let's watch and see what people and businesses decide to do. Take a listen.
Like a threat to dollar dominance, for example. Like if there was some credible threat to dollar dominance, like that, like I know it's kind of a fantasy here, but like if there was some other country, let's say a large country like, China or Russia that like implemented some system that was some sort of threat to dollar dominance, then you could see the United States responding. If they thought that a technological solution was the best solution, you would see a priority that you wouldn't see under any other scenario, despite their natural conservatism.
I just don't think you could say it any better. And at the time, I'm showing you, BRICS has a new payment system. BRICS intends to launch a BRICS currency. Now we see 10 Asian nations looking to ditch the dollar. This continues to grow. This is why when I see things like moving to T+1 settlement, when I see things like joining ISDA, helping DTCC, joining FedNow, joining the Digital Dollar Project, joining the Digital Euro Association, the Digital Pound Foundation, and so on, and so on, and so on. When I see all of this, it looks like the plan that they don't want to say out loud yet. But it does look to me, and maybe I'm looking at this glass half full, but it does look to me that they are in fact putting something in place so there can be a moment where a shift happens, a paradigm shift will take place. And hopefully if they get it right, they can do everything in their power to make sure they minimize the impact on hyperinflation as the dollars rush back home. I've often said that finding XRP is bittersweet, because if you find XRP, at least under the pretense that I have, you understand it's bittersweet because as XRP is ushered in, it will be at a most critical time while it's, the world is being devastated economically. How bad it gets, I don't really know. But in order for all of this to work, the dream scenario and the rest of it, you're going to need this. You're going to need a good old-fashioned digital dollar, and they're getting ready to launch it. It's a Ripple Labs USD, RLUSD. Trademark has just been filed here showing from Ripple Labs, and oddly enough, the number starts out 985. You can only imagine what people are going to tie into that, saying it's 589 backwards. Good land to live in. You can't make it up. You talk about keeping the masses riled up. That's going to get them. But nevertheless, this is the trademark. It does look official. We haven't seen anything obviously said from Ripple's position, but this looks pretty solid. And there's a lot of people out here that have gone and found the trademark as well. So we'll have to see for the official announcement if it goes. But RLUSD, not very attractive and a little long as far as I'm concerned, but we'll see what happens. The fact that they're launching a stablecoin and they're getting closer every day is what's more important to me than the name. I don't care what you call the damn thing. Let's just get it launched, and let's have it be just as transparent as it needs to be to make all the regulators happy that need to look at it. And let's get this thing going, ladies and gentlemen. And take a look at this mind-blowing chart right here from NFA.crypto, baby. Not financial advice.crypto. Right there. Look at this chart. What a thing of beauty it is. I don't know what's going to happen, but I love knowing that we have the awareness to be here so we can find out. And I really do feel that way. And I don't know what's going to happen. But if anything remotely close to what did in 17 to 18 happen, and that happens here, there's going to be a lot of happy people around. A lot of happy people. Busy day today. No Freedom Zone content today, but there will be tomorrow. And until then, you can support the channel at digitalperspectives.com for almost next to nothing, for less than a cost of a cup of coffee a month. A month! You can get your daily videos with 0 Google ads. You will get extra content as well. And you will also get access to a free private Telegram group. No doubt about it, you're going to want to be in it. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. I'll catch all of you on the next one.